What is going on, YouTube? Back at it again with another video. A couple things I want to say before I start this. So I'm finally getting a new computer, a new laptop. So this yellow thing that you see, it's gonna be finally gone for a while. I'll probably start using my brother's laptop once he comes back from college, and I get to use this clear camera. But yeah, I'm getting my own one soon and my own new one soon. So new personal one. So if you have any suggestions for any good laptops, put in the comments below. Because I still haven't decided on it yet. So yeah, there's that. Second of all, I'm probably gonna record 2 videos tonight, but I want to do this first because it's the shorter one. And besides that, I don't think I really have anything else to talk about besides the review of the arc. So yeah, Universe 6 tournament, or I don't really want to call it a tournament because it was more like a 5-on-5 Pokemon match more than anything. So that's what I'm gonna call it, like a 5-on-5 match. That's finished, and I thought I'd review it. So if you guys want my general thought or like a general score rating, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. I thought like the first beginning couple of episodes were pretty underwhelming and well, not really well. Very meh, I would say. And then I felt like once Vegeta versus Magetta started, like once that fight started to, once that fight happened, I felt like things started to move a little better after that. So, um, how should I say it? So like before Vegeta versus Magetta happened, like I was more okay. So like Goku obviously fought Botama, beat him, fought Frost, lost to him. Then Piccolo fights Frost, loses to him, and then Vegeta fights Frost and beats him, and then that's when Vegeta vs. Magetta happens, right? So I would say like those first couple of matches were very painful to watch, because the animation wasn't anything spectacular, and because the editing and the actual matches weren't very exciting. See, that's the thing about like if well, like in a tournament and like I just said, like a 5-on-5 match, like I should be excited like about the action, but I was more excited about things like Magetta's first name being Otta and Frost's business scheme. Like those things were more interesting to me than any fight that happened before Vegeta versus Magetta. So that was a big problem for me because that just makes for uninteresting storytelling and an uninteresting episode when it comes to the actual fighting. I mean. So yeah, it was kind of a bore to sit through. I was kind of pissed that Piccolo for some reason, didn't get to beat, didn't get to progress in the tournament. I felt like he should have beaten Frost. I guess I should start with the first match. Goku versus Botama was way better in the manga. I don't know what the fuck the anime was doing by saying that Botama was like the damage is displaced to some other dimension, like that, like the fact that that wasn't in the manga and it was insinuated like the slippery skin makes the damage sort of like slide and roll off him. Like that's more Toriyama-esque, and I'm not saying that just because, but it's just like just a damage being displaced to another dimension. Like what the fuck is that? Like I don't know. I don't know what they were doing with that. Anyway, that first match was bad in the anime. I enjoyed it more in the manga. Same thing with Goku versus Frost. That was better in the manga too. Though I remember there was one nice shot of like when Goku turned Super Saiyan and caught Frost's punch, like that. That was pretty cool. That was the only good part I liked about it. And then Piccolo versus Frost happened, and that was way different in the manga than it was in the anime. Because in the anime, in typical Toei fashion, and I believe King Ryu was the one who scripted the episode. It was all about Piccolo using the Makanko Sappo, the special beam cannon, which I thought was just like that's just like that. Like the thing that I hate about that and like the Final Flash episode that we get with Vegeta and Magetta is like that. Those are like the obvious things to do. Like it's just like so generic for them to use that. That's why I like the manga because it didn't have a need for them to like instantly go to those moves. Even though Vegeta didn't instantly go to that, but that is what he used to win in the end for some against Magetta for some reason rather than Kaba. I don't know why, but anyway, so definitely the manga did those fights better. Goku versus Frost, Botamo, then Piccolo versus Frost, and Vegeta versus Frost, and then Kaba or Magetta, excuse me. because Vegeta versus Kaba is coming next in the manga, but yeah, definitely like the manga was way more enjoyable for me. So yeah, I mean, I didn't like the whole Piccolo having to use his Makanko Sapa for the whole thing and then getting poisoned and then for some reason giving up his place to Vegeta as though like, oh, I'm giving it up, like as though there's like some mutual understanding. Like that was bullshit. And that's what it comes down to. Like the whole thing was Goku and Vegeta, and this is the thing that I feared about Super. I don't want this to be like Naruto, where it's Naruto and Sasuke. The good thing about Z is that, you know, even though, well, first of all, like people like to complain that the humans were like they were so much more better in Dragon Ball when they really weren't. The only one who was really any significantly better is probably Tien, and he wasn't all that considering. I'll reiterate it for you. He won the 22nd World Tournament. He was virtually useless in the King Piccolo arc. Then defeats Tao and then loses to Goku in the second arc, and after that he's pretty much nothing. Krillin is probably more useful in the Saiyan Dynamic arcs than he ever is in the entirety of Dragon Ball. He kills the Cyberman, the Dragon Ball stuff, Dragon Radar, the Unlock Potential stuff, cutting Frieza's tail, the Solar Flare. He does a way more useful stuff in Z than he does in actual Dragon Ball, and I don't think that's, quite frankly, I don't think that's arguable at all, because like people bring up the Red Ribbon Army arc when he didn't do anything besides like guide what was it? He guides like some sort of like ship underground into an underwater cavern to fight General Blue and then loses to him, you know? I mean, the only other thing is that, I'm trying to think, well, he loses to Piccolo in the 23rd World Tournament arc, is killed for the rest of the King Piccolo arc, defeats Chaozu and then loses to Goku. Doesn't really do anything in the Red Ribbon Army arc, and then beats Bacterian and then loses to Jackie Chun in the 21st World Tournament arc. So, really, he's more useful in Z. Now I'm kind of like backtracking. Of course, Yamcha's just useless across everything. So, but the point that I'm trying to make is that at least in Z, like with characters like there were characters besides Goku and Vegeta. Even though Vegeta now is like that second main character. In Z, he really wasn't. That was more of Gohan's role. But you know, Piccolo, Gohan, Trunks, like all these different characters at some point eclipsed Goku in power. And now it just seems like it's turning into Naruto, where Naruto and Sasuke are kind of like the gods, and that's the same thing with Goku and Vegeta. Even though like they're more powerful characters than them, you know, Beerus, Whis, Zen'o-sama, the Omni King that appears in this arc, and the Omni King is, you know, the most it's probably the most powerful character in the entire series right now. But very cute voice too, I gotta say. We'll talk about that later. But with respect to the main cast, like that is the one thing that I didn't want to happen. At the very least, Piccolo should be up there with them, because I think that just makes for more variety and more interesting character dynamics, especially like when they talk and whatever. Especially because, you know, Piccolo likes training just as much as Goku and Vegeta, as said by Krillin in the Androids arc when he goes to fuse with God, or you know, Kami. So at least he should be there. Gohan, you know, people are bitching about him, but you know, now that he's training again, we'll see what comes of that. And then if Future Trunks comes back, like I want to see what they do with him. But I'm just kind of like miffed that I'm not really miffed that Boo was kind of I'm not really miffed that Boo was excluded because he was stupid. I like that for humor's sake. But I don't like that Piccolo got shafted for basically no reason. And it was just Goku and Vegeta. I mean, I like Goku and Vegeta, of course. Like, they're my favorite characters. But, you know, especially with Monaka, I thought there was more interesting stuff. Because it was Goku and Vegeta in the Resurrection F arc, and then the arc before that in Battle of Gods. So it's just like, we're just getting more of that. Like, come on. What else do I want to say? So yeah, I didn't like that. Universe 6 wasn't really impressive except for Hit. That was kind of disappointing, too. But then again, you're going against two Saiyans with Godki who trained for 3 years in the hyperbolic time chamber, the room of spirit and time. So, you know, that's kind of, I guess it's kind of expected in that regard. But besides Hit, like I just, you know, like Toei I think just completely missed the point. This is why I think the manga is doing it better, because it's actually making that more like comedic and lighthearted. And Toei was trying to make it all the more dramatic and serious. And you should only do that when you get to Hit, because he's the only like viable threat, right? But you know, with the others, they're like Magetta's weakness is him because he doesn't have thick skin. Like and I like that, but it shouldn't be like the whole Magetta with the lava spit and versus the final flash, like trying to make that serious and dramatic, like that didn't work well for me. I mean, I like that scene. Don't get me wrong, but just in terms of like looking at it, looking at the match as a whole, and kind of considering like how strong Magetta is and this and that, like I didn't think like that was the right way to go about it. I think the manga does it better because it actually makes it more humorous and lighthearted. And even though there's a discrepancy with the 1,000 tons thing, because if they can withstand hundreds of times of Earth's gravity, then they should be able to lift that. But that's a different discussion altogether. But yeah, basically when Vegeta versus Magetta starts, that's when I start to now it's getting a little better. I still don't like that he had to rely on the final flash for some reason. I thought the manga did that fight way better by not using it. Not because they didn't use it. It was just like better told. It was humorous and lighthearted, and because he wasn't a threat, you didn't have to take him that seriously in the manga either. So I like that Toyotaro did that. And then Vegeta versus Kaba happens. And Vegeta versus Frost was terrible in the anime. Like one punch, like that was horribly animated. It was way better in the manga because Vegeta was actually sort of like enjoying like beating the fuck out of him. So I like that. That was pretty good. And another thing was that, with Frost, they didn't mention the business plan thing. So I don't know if Toei put that in or was that Toriyama or like what? Who created that? Either way, I still like it, whoever did that. Because like I said, that was like one of the few like details of the arc that I liked more than the actual fighting. At least before, like again, for the upteen time, Vegeta versus Magetta. But I don't know, that was just an interesting thing. And it didn't make any mention of Frost being evil, So I don't know. Maybe that was just Toei changing the story, doing what they want. Not that I have a problem with Toei changing the story because obviously they made Resurrection F better than the fucking film. And I say the fucking film with absolutely as much hate as I can because they made that story more cohesive and they fixed plot holes and all that, and they made it more interesting, like with Krillin having to find his courage again and all that. I like that stuff. Only downside is probably like Frieza and Jaco don't really have that funny dialogue that they did in the film, but I can live with that if it was like for just like a better story, basically, or like better explanations of things. So the Frost thing. I talked about Patama, Frost, Magetta. The thing about Magetta was that I didn't like the sound effects they used for him in the anime. Like he sounded like he was like a rusty bucket of like metal or something. Like it's like taking like steel and like bending it. Like that sound you have when you have like bendy steel. That was the sound that he was making, and I knew that they were going to go with that when I saw his design, but I guarantee you that's not what Toriyama had in mind, because, Toriyama's a very big Gundam. He loves fucking Gundam. And, if you ever watch Gundam and you listen to, like, the sound effects of the mechs, they don't really sound like that. Like, when Magetta was walking, it just sounded like more smoother, I guess you want to say. I can't really think of a good word, but it's more like... It's kind of like if you guys played Metal Gear and you listen to like the sound when like Rex or Ray is walking, like that's kind of like how a Gundam sounds. Like that's how Magetta, like those are the sound effects the studio used for him, in my opinion. But I did like Magetta's whole lava thing. I thought the whole heat bullshit in the episode that was fucking stupid. But I did like how he was like drinking lava out of a cup and just like threw it away. That I thought that was awesome. Vegeta being saved by a rule, I thought that was fucking dumb. Because, Toei was just making him into Asura. If you guys have played Asura's Wrath, they're making him Asura, basically. And that's really not his character. So, yeah, King Ryu, he needs to go because I've not liked his episodes pretty much at all. That might be too general of a statement, but... My biggest problem with King Ryu as a scriptwriter is that he makes Goku way too fucking vulnerable, and he goes out of his way to show that Goku can't do things on his own, which is fucking annoying. Here's the thing. I think I complained about it in the Resurrection F arc when Vegeta, when he was beating on Frieza, he was like, "I'm not as naive as Goku," and then the animation intentionally went to a shitty cut of bad character modeling just to show Goku and the rest of the crew's reaction to that statement. So King Ryu, like, he can't write Goku for shit. I don't know if he did the hit episodes, because I actually liked Goku's character in that. I can't believe I said it the way I just did, considering he's my favorite character ever, but I liked Goku's character specifically in the hit fights. Obviously, because that was the only other time he fought. Um, but yeah, I get a Kaba. The fight, the episode that he had with Vegeta, that okay. That was alright. That was alright. Um, the whole Saiyan pride thing, I think, it's not really anything noteworthy. It's just like, oh, I have a lot of pride. Wow. Okay. Wow, so interesting. Like the thing about Vegeta is when he can like throw that away, like for the benefit of others. Like that's when he's good. Like reinforcing the whole, oh, I have Saiyan pride. Never forget your Saiyan pride, and all this and that. Whatever. I mean, it was still a good episode. I think I enjoyed it, especially like the animation was better when like Kaba got like really mad and started like throwing like the ki blast at him. So yeah, I still enjoyed it. That was probably my favorite Vegeta episode, I'd have to say. And then we finally get to the hit stuff, which was by far the best stuff to me. And that was obviously Vegeta versus Hit and then Goku versus Hit. Vegeta versus Hit, I thought that was Naoki Tate doing it. I don't know why they gave Vegeta like the sort of like Hunchback of Notre Dame stance when he was fighting Hit. Like he was sitting like this, like he had his shoulders like hunched over. I don't know what he was doing with that. Like I don't even know if that's like a right stance. It seemed like he was like Sloth from FMA or something. I don't know what they were doing with that, but so yeah, Vegeta loses, and then it's Goku versus Hit. And I actually, because I think King Ryu wrote this, and he's actually showing that Goku's kind of smart now because he can predict the vital moves, or he can predict Hit's moves because he's targeting his vital organs. And then it has Goku tell his plan to Hit, but then he says that he's not worried about that because it's hard to change your movements while you're in like the heat of the decision. Like while you're actually doing it, it's hard to like change it midway. So I thought that was a pretty good explanation because that reminded me of like Bleach and like if you guys are reading Hunter x Hunter, like where spoilers if you're not, but Chrollo versus Hisoka is happening right now in the manga. So what was I gonna say? Chrollo tells Hisoka his power too. So I felt like people were gonna rag on that, but Goku actually had an explanation for like why he said it. So I thought that was I like that character moment for him too. I do like Hit's character. Kazuhiro Yamaji is just like a freaking god of voice acting. Like of course, he's like a veteran voice actor, so I knew I was gonna like him pretty much anyway. But I definitely like the voice that he uses for Hit. And hits. His head is still like a dick, but I like the boxing thing that he used against Vegeta. And then I also liked the one moment where he starts screaming like Goku, but his power doesn't increase at all. So that's kind of like an inside joke that I think Toei put in there. But I also like how his improvement and his increase in strength comes from him improving his actual ability. I think that's the first time that we've seen something like that in Dragon Ball, because usually like ki and abilities are kind of like interconnected, sort of. But over here, it's Hit gets stronger the more that he increases his time stop. So I thought like solely improving his ability, I thought that was, personally for me, I thought that was like kind of interesting, like how it goes away from like ki levels and more into like ability improvement, and that's how he gets more powerful. It's a little more realistic too when you think about it. So I like that. And then obviously Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken. I said Saiyan. I actually might say Saiyan now instead of Saiyan, considering like all the people in Kanzenshi say it that way. But yeah, Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken times 10. I would think I thought they would have given him times 20, but I like that Kaioken came back, and it's interesting that Goku still would have lost even with it because he couldn't because it kept on improving, and Goku was like he hadn't mastered it fully, so he was suffering from the side effects. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean the animation was great in that particular fight. That was Goku versus Hit was by far the best fight of the entire tournament. But I also like how Goku gave up, in terms of like he realizes like they won't be able to have like a good like full out one-on-one match. What was I gonna say? Because Hit is forbidden from using his killing technique, so I wonder what's gonna happen with that in the future. I wonder if Goku is actually gonna die for a third time from hit. So because if hit goes all out, and Goku is definitely gonna master his Kaioken blue thing. But I see. Here's the thing: did Toriyama, was he the one who wrote that Kaioken blue thing? Because I don't know. Like it Kaioken has not been used in a long time. I mean, he very well might have brought it back, but I don't like. It's just like Toriyama's the kind of person, like, once he uses a technique, he kind of doesn't use it again, except if it's the Kamehameha. Like even the Spirit Bomb, like he's not using that anymore. The Genki Dama, and those are really only Goku's two moves: Kamehameha, Kaioken, and Genki Dama, right? Oh, and Solar Flare and a couple others I'm forgetting, but he hasn't really brought those techniques back in a while. And so I don't know if it was him that brought the Kaioken back or not. I mean, that might have been Toei, because the whole red with the blue thing just kind of looks weird. I don't like the look of the double aura. I don't think that really looks that good in the anime. When I first saw it, when the good animation started happening, then I thought that it looked a little better. But with the Ken Otsuka, but which was okay, I thought. Well, not the best, but it was pretty decent, especially like when the rapid punching bit started happening. I thought that was pretty good. But yeah, besides that, that like Goku vs. Hit was by far the best part of the entire arc to me. And then, so obviously then they give up, and and then Monaka ends up being like a total amateur anyway, which I'm kind of like peeved about, because that just lends itself to like, oh, it was all Goku and Vegeta again. And I really hope that's not the case for Universe 12, for like this 12 Universe tournament that's coming up, because oh my god, I would be so mad if Piccolo doesn't get at least some sort of shine. But it seems, the episode for the preview for episode 42 seems like, like Monaka's kind of strong now, which is kind of strange because he's training under Mr. Satan. So I don't know what's going on with that. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, Hit gives up because as out of a favor to Goku. And then the one thing that I really liked about the arc too was Champa. Like Champa, like whenever he got flustered and he was just like Shikasha, he was arguing with like Beerus. Dude, I love that stuff. Like that was amazing. Like that was great. But I do hope that he gets a serious fight in the future, like kind of how Beerus did with Goku. I hope Champa gets that sort of fight, and that he's just not like a real, comic relief character, because there's just so much opportunity to do things with these characters, and I feel like we're not gonna get it. Well, that's what I'm afraid of. So, but yeah, the tournament ends, and then Zen'o, the king of all, and his two bodyguards show up, or her two bodyguards, considering like what the voice is. Very, like I said, very cute voice. I love the fact that the king of all looks like that. Probably the strongest character in the entire series, canon wise at least, at the very least. One thing that I noticed is that they gave the bodyguards like two very distinct voices, so I wonder if like they're going to be important in the future too. And I especially like the way they look. I like how they're like their vest coats, whatever, like it covers their mouths. It's kind of like Shino from Naruto, so I like that. But yeah, the woman who voices King of All, she's most famous for Togepi in Pokemon. So Togepi is pretty much like the strongest character in all of Dragon Ball. But very very cute voice. I love that stuff. I like that. And then as of last episode, dude, Divine Dragon coming out. Yo, if you don't know me, I love fucking dragons. Like dragons. Yeah. He was just like, okay, my dragon voice, ready? Like that shit was like so beast. Fucking dragon voice. That was so beast. It's like that, like fucking Smaug or Darius from Toriko. This like, and this shit was like Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann big. Okay, like it was fucking humongous. Like took was the size of the universe, and then it swallowed Saturn. And then the crew goes inside and meets its nucleus. And the one thing that I want to say about this, like I thought this was really important because like I care about like atmosphere, editing, and directing and all of that. When that happened, it was pretty much pure silence, you know? And that is like one of the few things that separates Z and Dragon Ball from Super. Like Dragon Ball was like such a well directed show because it knew like when to use its music. The problem with Super is that it's kind of like Bruce Falcone, where like it's inappropriate music playing like almost all the time. But when they entered, as they call it, Super Shenlong's body, it was pretty much no music. It was the silence was sort of like dampening the mood, if you will, and that is something that Dragon Ball Super needs more of. That is definitely it definitely needs something more of that, because like moments like that in Z and Dragon Ball made like whatever dramatic moment it was going through all the much more heightened. Like the apprehension and the tension was all the more heightened because of that, because there wasn't like grand music playing all the time. So the Divine Dragon Super Shenlong stuff was fucking awesome. I love the summoning, and you know, I like the whole nucleus thing too, and of course I love the size. That was just freaking majestic. Like that was incredible. I like the look of it too. I like that it's like a sort of like a long. I mean, we knew it was going to be like a long dragon considering Shenron and Porunga, but I don't know. Like the fact that it's kind of like Slifer-esque, if you will. I like that. I like that, and then its color is cool. I don't know. It just looks fucking awesome to me. It just looks amazing, and Beerus' wish I thought was pretty good too, because it shows that he actually kind of like I mean, he probably won't admit it, but he probably cares for Champa a little bit, even though he said that the reason was that Champa just owes him one now. But I like that whole exchange that Champa and Beerus had, like when they realized like what the wish was. Champa's like, that cheeky bastard, and then Beerus is like, nah, I just did it so that he owes me one. So that was great, and I love Whis and Beerus' like the language that they used to summon the dragon. Like that was funny as fuck. It reminded me of episode 2 of Dragon Ball Super when Whis was talking with the alien, the 4-eyed alien, or the whatever 6-eyed, whatever it was. That was I love that stuff. That was great. But yeah, so that was good. And Monaka's job is discovered to be like a delivery man, which, you know, that's see, all those little details are things that I like about not just Dragon Ball, but like just Toriyama's work in general, because he always like peppers things in like that. I don't now again we don't know for sure if Toriyama himself wrote that or if it was Toei, but I like that, you know. It's just something that's very sort of like characteristic of his work. And it's something that I would expect him to write too. So I like that. I like that. But that's pretty much the end of the tournament. The 12 universe tournament, or the end of my review, if you will. The 12 universe tournament, I hope it doesn't happen for a while, because one tournament, or not really a tournament, but one 5-on-5 match and then another one, like, I'm not really digging that. We need breaks in between tournaments. Kind of like what we got with Dragon Ball, and then even in Yu Yu Hakusho, you know, you had Dark Tournament. Well, Spirit Detective arc with, you know, 4 Beasts and Saiyan Stuff Rando, Dark Tournament, Chapter Black, 3 Kings Demon World Tournament, right? So there was always at least one arc in between. So I hope we get that for Super 2. Future Trunks showing up in the future. Can't wait for that. If it is him, I hope. I'm hyped for the Arale episode too. That's gonna be episode 43, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So the episode after this one. The white-haired villain, the white-colored villain, I should say. I'm interested to see like who he, she, it is. And there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, but I'm forgetting it now. Fuck, I forgot. Damn, I forgot. Yeah. Trying to remember, but I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shampa's wish. What was he gonna wish for? I hope that's addressed. I hope that's addressed later in some of the later arcs. And oh yeah, and there's also like if we don't know now we know is that there's a distinct difference between Zarama and the Divine Dragon. So Zarama is not the same thing. He's the Dragon God, or the creator of the Super Dragon Balls, but Divine Dragon, he's like the god of dragons, if you will. So there's dragon god and then god of dragons. So it's like kind of like different. Ryu Kami and then Ryu no Kami and then Kami Ryu or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, do I have anything else to talk about after? Nah, I think that's it. Yeah, I don't know. Did I miss something? Oh yeah, what hit wants the cube? I guess we don't need to know why exactly hit needs the cube. He just wants it, just like as a fucking car or something. But it's almost we're almost like pretty sure now that the Universe 6 fighters, they're going to be the same team at the Universe 12 tournament. So, or the 12 Universe tournament. So, I wonder how Vegeta's going to close the gap now that Goku has Kaioken. I wonder if he'll get his own version. But the one thing that I feel like King Ryu, like if he's writing the script episodes, he's definitely going to make Vegeta in his Super Saiyan Blue stronger than Goku in his Super Saiyan Blue. Because if there's anything that I've learned about King Ryu over any episode that he's scripted, he likes Vegeta more for sure. I mean that's just easy to tell. Or he just makes him more badass, I should say. Which is kind of annoying because it just goes to show that he thinks that Goku's kind of like Gohan and kind of like nice and a goody two shoes and a good guy, and that's really not him. So, but yeah, I feel like he needs to go. But besides that, I don't think I have anything else to talk about. I'm trying to remember. I don't want to like bore you guys any more than I already have, but. Yeah, so I talked about Champa, Beer Squeeze, Vados, and there's nothing really to talk about with her. With Hit and Whis and I guess Vados, I wonder if like the time related abilities we're going to get to explore. Like, is there a link between them? Did someone teach them those? That'll be interesting to see in the future. Like what happens with that, if there is any correlation or link. The Tokitobashi, if the time skip, if you will. And Goku was moving during some of those time skips too, which I thought was very interesting. When he went Kaioken, at least the first time he went Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue at the end of the episode, he was moving through the time skip, which I thought was cool. So, what else do I want to say though? I think that's it. I think I'm done. I've ranted about it. I praised the good stuff. So yeah, 6 to 7 out of 10 I think is a fair score for the arc at the end of the day. Only because Goku versus Hit was like I thought that was pretty good. So, and the Divine Dragon, Goku versus Hit and the Divine Dragon, and of course I'd probably say King of All showing up. I think that's pretty good. Those two were my favorite moments. Yeah. Oh, and there's also Universe 6 Saiyans and planets, Saddle and the King and the New King and all that. We'll see if Vegeta visits that sometime in the future. Maybe with Goku, we'll see. But yeah, I think I'm done. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Oh, Goku holding Galactic King's dick. That was pretty. I thought that was funny. Yeah. But yeah, I don't want to keep this video going longer than any more than it should. So I'll respond to you guys in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and peace. Bye.